this doesn't work, well, I'll have to get creative. So, yesterday, it had been a week since I attached the better clamp to the plumbing drain here, and I decided it was time to test it. And so I ran warm water down it for probably about half an hour, just to see how things were doing, and opened up the clean out and tested it and watched underneath it to make sure there were no drips, and there were no drips, which was amazing. And then I decided I was going to turn on the water for the upstairs toilet, which is the one that's hooked up and that they repaired the drain pipe from. And I decided to turn on that water, and I turned it on without remembering that line that goes to the toilet was also connected to the tub, and I had disconnected the tub from the tap, and so water came out all over the upstairs bathroom and dripped down through the ceiling, and I freaked out and had to go up and clean everything up and then plug that and set it up so I could do it properly. And the end result is we have a functional indoor toilet. It works, and it doesn't leak, and it works, and we can now go to the bathroom inside, which is perfect. And now I'm still going to leave this uncovered for a little longer as we watch it very carefully. I've still got to work out the second toilet, and I did find another leak in a pipe right up here, just a little dime-sized area of the cast iron that's rusting away. So I'm going to fix that with a clamp, which I have on order, and hopefully will be no big deal, since that is up in the air and not under the ground. That will be much easier to access. And
well, luckily the leak that occurred, let's show them.
Sure.
Show them why that wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Exactly. So when I unfortunately turned on the water when a pipe was disconnected, the water came out on the upstairs bathroom floor, and luckily it came out and then dripped down through in an area which was already damaged by a similar leak, and which we haven't really repaired yet, and which they had attempted to repair very poorly with plaster of Paris, which is not really what you use on ceilings, but I guess it's what they had. So we will probably knock out the rest of that eventually and replace it with a real plaster repair stuff. But in any case, that's where my unfortunate leak came through.
It looks like that leak from some previous owner was far more catastrophic than your leak yesterday.
Much more catastrophic. I think it was going for much longer than my, frenzied 15 seconds or however long it was before I realized what had happened.
Well, it was probably when the house was empty and being shown to prospective people.
Yes.
I think someone told us that
they turned on the water without checking to see that things were leaking.
Right.
They just left it on for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I did not leave this on for very long, obviously.
Right. And then someone tried to repair it with... Well, first someone tried to repair it with something halfway decent. That's the gray.
Yes.
I don't know if that's real plaster or if it's something else, but it's halfway
solid.
decent. It's
Yeah.
pretty solid. The plaster of Paris is just crummy.
It's just mush.
It's just mush.
Yep.
And it was already flaking off and just peeling off in big sheets. So if we had to have a drip, that's actually not a bad place to have a drip.
Right.
Because it was already needing help.
Yes. And I did discover while I was up there inspecting this that the cloth that had been jammed up by the big drain pipe that we've had repaired by the guys who've basically
Let's show
lined it
them.
with plastic. So this is the main cast iron drain, which had a crack in the back and which has been now lined with plastic inside by the guys who came from all the way down from Des Moines to do it. And when they were doing that, the plastic resin came out through the crack, and there had been a blanket jammed in here to help stem the leak, and now that sheet is glued solidly.
See if you can get a shot of it.
It is now glued solidly to the pipe. This is going nowhere, and will have to be cut off. But You can see the resin actually sort of dripped down the pipe here, came out and came down, and luckily it's now fully dried and everything. And so hopefully we'll be able to, you can actually see the crack there and what it was repairing. If we get around here, you can definitely see that crack and all of what is now fixed inside the pipe. So glad we didn't have to tear all of this out, and it will be a big improvement when it's all functional. But I will have to cut this blanket off because that's not staying there. It's going to take me a while to get through this because it's a pretty thick blanket that was jammed up here. And I don't want to peel off the plastic because I don't want the plastic to crack and break out our carefully installed lining.
That would be very bad. Worst case scenario, if we have to have some blanket fragments up there, that's
exactly
a better choice than breaking the drain pipe.
Yep.
Because I like having an indoor toilet.
Yep, having an indoor toilet is very nice. It's very valuable.
Yes. I was just telling Gabriel this morning about one of the stories from the Great Brain series, which is a great series of books for kids, and I think they're true stories, aren't they?
I don't think so.
I thought they were semi-autobiographical.
I think they're semi-autobiographical in the way that Laura Ingalls Wilder is semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, but anyhow, there's a Great Brain story where the narrator's older brother, the Great Brain, the family has just gotten the town's first indoor privy, and so he's charging admission to all the neighborhood kids to see the amazing indoor outhouse that doesn't stink. And then when their parents find out, they make him give back all the money, but more kids come for refunds than had gone to see the toilet to begin with. And so the narrator points out this is one of the few schemes where the Great Brain winds up losing money.
It's too thick to cut through.
I'll just do it a little at a time.
I'm trying. It's folded in so many multiple layers that I can't get through it.
Do you want me to have a go at it? I have more experience cutting fabric than you do.
I suppose you do. You want to try?
Sure, I'll try.
It's also getting down below the level.
This is pretty thick, isn't it?
It is very thick and rather hard to cut.
Well, it's quadrupled over in 4 layers.
Right.
So, the way you deal with that is layer by layer.
Ah, your secret knowledge impresses me.
Yes, this is a big brainstorm here. Novel ideas. It just takes a while, but what doesn't around here?
Mm-hmm.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All I need is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, heaven bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. So you can sort of see the where the finish is all gone on the cabinet there, which is where the split pipe was leaking all over, and we are going to have to refinish that. Same thing with the little bit of the top here, but other parts of it are still pretty nice looking. So it'll be a matter of touching things up and revarnishing. Luckily, a lot of the rest of the cabinet is still pretty gorgeous. So yes, the chopping out bits of blanket that were used to try to patch a hole in a cast iron drain pipe is less than fun, but it is in fact rather like a lot of the work that we've got trying to fix things in this house. Right. Well, it's more fun than my whack-a-wasp exercise.
Yes, though that one does at least give you adrenaline and running practice.
Yeah, that's true.
Exercise.
That's true. The wasps were not amused.
Of course they weren't.
People aren't really interested in the slow, tedious work that goes into something like this.
Yes, they like the time-lapse photography or the sped-up video or...
Right. You see, if this was a movie, this would all be happening and, we'd go in 10 seconds with a peppy soundtrack from disaster to miracle.
But real life doesn't work that way.
No, unfortunately.
People want up to the minute updates, but they want everything done up to the minute too. Up to the minute updates would be terribly, terribly boring. And people don't seem to realize that. Because the reality of most of this is that it is just tedious and dull. And just a lot of dull work.
Hard, repetitive labor.
Right.
I saw some of that blanket. It's definitely making progress,
It's
yes.
definitely making progress.
Ah, yes.
I've only been at this, an hour? I'm having to stand on my tiptoes to do this too, so my calves are getting a big workout.
Eventually I did finally get the rest of that blanket out of there. In a few months we would discover that the pipe Gabriel had so painstakingly replaced had further collapsed sections farther down, underneath the concrete slab. However, we wouldn't work that out until he had the plumbing fixtures connected again, and those were a further set of Herculean tasks.
So this is the downstairs toilet drain, which I have plugged right now because it is not very serviceable. But I'm going to unplug it. So this flange actually is cracked, so there's sort of some, well, you can kind of see this edge here is not connected anymore. And so that needs to be replaced, or at least layered over with something that's not going to leak. You can also see down in there that there is a nasty sort of clot which is stuck to the side of the pipe, and which really should come out. So I'm going to probably try to chip that out, but first I have to put something down in the bottom of the pipe to make sure it doesn't fall down and go down to clog things up further down. So that has to come out. And then I'm going to put in a new flange, which luckily just presses in there. And that is going to basically just cover over the old one and make things waterproof and nice. So, big improvement, I hope. I sort of had a vision of this coming out in one big chunk, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna. There we go. That's gonna be as good as it gets, I think. And let's get that out. That's as much of it as I'm gonna get out without being worried about damaging the rusty pipe, which I do not want to do, because I do not want to have to replace another one. And now, I need to, actually, while I have this in my hand, I'm going to clean this up some.
You will take a shower after this.
You think? I think that might be a good idea. That might be a good idea.
Oh, describe your shower for the describe the shower for the folks at home.
Oh, the shower, is basically a very cheap thin plastic shower stall installed shoehorned into the basement by some previous owners at some point in some act of desperation. Luckily, it now has hot water because I replaced the hot water heater. That makes a big difference. It really improves the shower.
I dealt with cold water for about 3 months.
Yes. But it is obviously improved from there. And
the walls of that shower stall are like one step up from trash bags.
Yes, they are. They are barely there. But they are, at this moment, waterproof. And it does allow us to have a shower and cleanse our bodies.
When you shove your arm down a sewer pipe.
When I shove my arm down the sewer pipe, which is necessary at this stage with a bunch of things.
The shower stall itself is what? Would you say 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet?
Something like that. A palatial size.
That's what, about 200 centimeters by 200 centimeters? Something like that?
I couldn't even tell you. But something like 100 centimeters is a meter.
Oh, yeah.
So no, it's
So
substantially
far
less.
far less than that.
The metric system, yes.
Yeah.
Every American's friend. Okay. Now,
You want me to get you a trash bag?
I think a trash bag might be useful.
I'm going to get a trash bag.
Are you now?